Start with a live look at Capitol Hill this morning, with Republicans making a big push to get their agenda across the finish line before the midterms. In largely party line votes, the House passed a more than $1 trillion defense policy bill, as well as $95 billion to pay for the Iran war. Republicans also approved a ban on congressional stock trading. And the one thing that all of these have in common is that they include voter ID measures.
Americans demand a few things that are common sense. They demand secure elections. They want a strong national defense capable of countering our adversaries. They want a Congress that plays by the same rules that they do. These are not big things to ask.
There's a really big difference between showing up to a polling place with your driver's license and showing up to a polling place where you need to bring your passport.
For more on everything that has transpired, let me bring in Alex Bolton, senior staff writer for our partners at thehill.com. I mean, Alex, talk about a massive day for the House. The NDA cleared, but Speaker Mike Johnson still plans to attach it to the SAVE Act before he sends it on to the Senate. How's that going to impact its chances of the upper chamber passing the bill?
Well, I think he's doing that to essentially unify his own conference to pass these bills. And that's what was remarkable about these votes. Republicans are divided on a number of issues, but by attaching or promising to attach the SAVE Act or elements of the SAVE Act to either the Defense Authorization Bill, the $95 billion in emergency funding for the Pentagon and for other measures, and for a stock trading ban, he was at least an element of SAVE Act to the stock trading ban. He was able to coalesce his caucus behind those bills. And that's the whole point, is just to get these things through the House so that Speaker Johnson and his Republican colleagues can make the case to voters in November. They actually know how to govern and they can get things done. These bills weren't going to pass the Senate anyway. Adding elements of the SAVE Act or the entire Save America Act to these pieces of legislation ensures that they won't have Democratic support in the Senate. Chuck Schumer, the Senate Democratic leader, calls the Save America Act Jim Crow 2.0, although he has also said that Democrats support requiring photo ID to vote. Now, while he said that, Democrats haven't necessarily shown that in the way they voted, but it's a big victory for Mike Johnson. But all these bills aren't going anywhere in the Senate because of Democratic opposition and because of the filibuster, which means you need 60 votes to pass anything through the upper chamber.
So what happens when it gets to the Senate? If this is dead on arrival there, then what happens, Alex?
Well, this gets, I mean, there are two more basically work weeks in the summer before Congress leaves for the August recess. And this is the last week of work for the House until the August recess or until September. And so that's why it was very critical for Johnson to get these things done to show Republicans know how to govern. The Senate's going to be around for 2 more weeks of work, but they're going to be focused more on nominees. So this all comes back to a head in September. And your question is, where does it all go? Probably nowhere before the election. The focus in September is going to be avoiding another government shutdown and trying to pass some sort of legislation to fund the government past September 30th. John Thune, who you see on your screen right there, the Senate Majority Leader, what he has said is he's going to use this budget reconciliation package, and that's the $95 billion to pay for the war in Iran and also election-related measures. There's some farm aid in that reconciliation package as well. Thune says that he's putting that on hold in the Senate so that it can be used as a vehicle to pass just a basic government funding bill to avoid a third government shutdown. And so the reason why the budget reconciliation package is important is in the Senate, it has special procedural rules and it can avoid a filibuster. And why that's critical is if you avoid the filibuster, you only need a simple majority, i.e. only Republican votes to pass the measure. You don't have to rely on Democrats. So the focus is to cut back and just try to avoid a government shutdown, not try to pass all these more ambitious proposals.
Yeah, and talk to me a little bit more about, because there were 7 Republicans that voted this down, right? They include some pretty staunch conservatives. I mean, everybody from Arizona Congressman Eli Crane, Tim Burchett of Tennessee. You've got Josh Burkeen of Oklahoma who voted this down as well. Was their main problem? What was their main issue with all of this? And what are you hearing about the frustration from fellow House Republicans on them not handing over their support?
Well, it's not entirely surprising because what we're talking about is a 1.15 trillion authorization, budget authorization for the Pentagon. And I think where fiscal conservatives are coming is that they don't want to greenlight all this funding when the Pentagon can't pass an audit. And in fact, there was an amendment added to this bill that successfully that would automatically cut defense spending by 0.5% if the Pentagon fails an audit. So this has been an ongoing criticism of fiscal conservatives like those who voted against this bill, that the Pentagon is spending all this money and can't account for all of it. In fact, there have been reports that the Pentagon doesn't know we're up to $10 billion in its budget goes annually. It's such a massive organization. The accounting standards just are not able to keep up with all the various spending, and I think that's why you have conservatives voting against it. But you also had, I think 7 Democrats voting for it because they want to show voters, and they come from more swing and conservative districts, that they support the military, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah, and probably also willing to reach across the aisle on certain legislation as well. House Republicans also taking action on an issue that's hurt a lot of Americans' views of Congress, and that's passing new limits on lawmakers and their families' ability to trade stocks. Democrats have been big supporters of a congressional stock trading ban, so I'm curious why 13 of them only 13 of them voted to pass the bill.
Well, something that Speaker Mike Johnson did that was controversial with Democrats is he added an element of the Save America Act to the stock trading ban. Now, what he added was the most popular element of the bill, which is requiring voters to show photo ID when either they vote by mail or show up at the polls. And while Democrats say they support photo ID for voting, and that's something that Chuck Schumer, the Senate Democratic leader, said earlier this year, they cited that as a reason to vote against the stock trading ban. In fact, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is a leading progressive, she posted on social media that Republicans were trying to sneak in a provision of a voter suppression bill onto the stock trading ban. And so that's why they voted against it. Thomas Massie, who's a Trump critic, he's a conservative Republican from Kentucky.
Yeah, he just got primaried. Yeah.
Yes, he just lost his primary. He accused the Republican leadership of trying to sabotage the stock trading ban by attaching this element of the Save America Act, knowing how controversial it was going to be with Democrats. Now, the other thing that Democrats argue or complain about is that this bill would stop members of Congress, their spouses, their dependents from buying new stocks, but it wouldn't require them to divest. And there's another bill that has broad bipartisan support that would require members of Congress to divest their stock assets within 180 days. This bill would not do that, although it would still be a major first step by stopping them from buying new stocks.
Well, we'll be watching to see what happens next once this reaches the Senate. Alex Bolton, I got to end it there for now. Thank you for your time on an early Thursday morning.